hello and welcome to episode 5 of the BoxNation podcast. I'm your host, Dev Sahni. Today I am excited, I am delighted, because I am reunited with the one and only Steve Lillis. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Dev. I'm back. I'm not going anywhere.
Please don't leave me again. Barry pretty much bullied me in the time you were away.
Barry would. And Barry bullies me, so it's nice for someone else to get bullied by Barry.
I got buried. Well, today's show is full to the brim. Steve, you caught up with the returning hero Billy Joe Saunders after his tremendous standout win in Canada. There's a bit of a festive theme to today's show too, as we find out everyone's favourite Christmas film and Christmas song. We hear from Terry Turbo Flanagan on why he's moved up in weight. Bradley Skeete wants to fight Amir Khan, and red-hot super featherweight prospects Zelfa, Barrett and Lyon Woodstock talk to the show. There's that, and there is so much more. Keep on listening. Where else can we possibly start other than Montreal on Saturday night? The WBO World Middleweight Champion Billy Joe Saunders, Hertfordshire's finest, travelled to the backyard of mandatory challenger David Lemieux and put on a career best display to outpoint the Canadian. The scores were 120-108, 117-111, 118-110, and at times Billy Joe Saunders played with his Canadian challenger. It was boxer versus puncher, and the boxer certainly prevailed. Here's what the fighters had to say to Max Kellerman.
From the very first moment of the first round, it was a no contest. Why was that?
Because I know what sort of fighter David Lemieux is. I know what sort of coach he's got. I knew what he was coming for. I look easy to hit. I look easy to hurt. I look easy to put down. I look like I run out of gas. But you can't hit me. I like to come in someone's backyard because I perform better. This time last year, I was an absolute disgrace in Scotland. And I'd never ever jump in the ring again, a performance like that. And that's down to one man and one man only. Dominic Ingle from Sheffield. If it wasn't for him, my boxing career would be finished and over. So, down to that man, I'm moving like that. Don't forget, he's trained Nazim, he's trained all of them. I go in there, and I took to each style of training like a duck to water. I knew the very first day, I was excited to get in the ring. I wouldn't have come over here if I thought I was going to get beat. When I hurt David, I wanted to put it on him. I really did want to put it on him. But that's what I paid Dominic Ingle to do. I went to put it on him, and he was screaming, take your time, don't. And to be fair, it was the best advice. Because then I picked, poked, prodded him, and then I just lost him.
Okay, the point of all this seems to be in your debut in North America. Can this guy, if he actually wins and he beats Lemieux, can he do so in a way that makes fight fans think, I don't know who would win, him or Triple G. I don't know who would win, him or Canelo, Danny Jacobs, Andrade. And the answer ringside is, you did it. We don't know. Is that the point?
Well, what I want to say, I've beaten enough dog meat now. Golovkin, you keep saying you want my WBO belt when I was 14 stone out of shape and wasn't in love with boxing. Then you wanted to fight me. Fight me now. Now fight me. We'll see a different story because you'll be punching fresh air.
Well, that was a fired-up Billy Joe Saunders, who is now calling out Gennady Golovkin. Let's hear from David Lemieux on why he thinks he lost that fight.
What happened tonight?
I wasn't at my best, hats up to Billy Joe, but as of the second round, my left hand, I couldn't use it the way I wanted to, and he was on the run, so I had a little bit difficulties throwing my shots, so I gotta say it wasn't my best night. But
how much of that was because of Billy Joe Saunders? It seemed to us ringside, right from the opening bell, a lot of it was because of him.
Well, a lot of it, no, I think a lot of it was because of me. I didn't do it what I could have done. I couldn't use my left hand the way I wanted to, and this was the result. And, he was running away from the first round till the end. I guess that's a strategy to win, to run away from fighters instead of fighting. So, you know what, if this is the way you want to win, then, hey, congratulations.
Now, Steve, I know you caught up with Billy Joe Saunders just this morning, and we'll hear that interview very shortly. But first, summarise the fight for me.
Brilliant. Footwork is everything, and Billy Joe showed that, just constantly moving. You couldn't pick a single fault in Billy Joe's performance, and when Lemieux was made to look like the worst 4-round novice you'll ever see when he threw that right hand and spun almost 360 degrees. Well, he went 180 degrees at least, to put it that way. I won't top spin it too much. And Billy Joe had a quick look up in the bell centre as far as he could to see where that punch has gone. It's something that will live with boxing forever. And we're in 2018 on a high note for British boxing. And that's one of the little video clips of the year.
Absolutely.
You know, I know you've been putting it on the BoxNation website. I'd love to know how many hits that's got.
Well, it's got
especially
over
in Lads Mag sites as well, where we have millions and millions of people watching them. It's gone viral, I know.
It's in the millions, certainly. It reminded me, I think Mayweather, I'm not just going to straight up compare the performance of Billy Joe Saunders to that Floyd Mayweather, but Mayweather would toy with his opponents like that as well. I think he did it to Canelo, something similar.
He did. We broke Canelo's heart in the second half of that fight. And it was interesting what Mark Ramsey, Lemieux's trainer, said after 10 rounds. He was begging him not to quit. So he sensed there was maybe Lemieux was ready to quit in the 10th round. And I think Bunsey had it right in the studio. If that had been Mayweather doing that to an opponent, like he did the second half of the fight against Canelo, when Canelo was a broken man, imagine the praise he'd be getting globally now. And I'm reading stuff online this morning on Ring Magazine, and a guy there was saying that Lemieux wasn't at his best. It's because he wasn't allowed to be at his best. And then, there was Eric Gomez, the boss of Golden Boy, who paid fortunes to get Billy Joe over there.
Yeah.
They thought they were just going to take the title and have their own man Lemieux and have complete control of the middleweight division. Then bar really Danny Jacobs. They'd have the two. They've sort of got a grip. No, they haven't got Golovkin, but he's fighting. He's most probably going to fight Canelo. They've got Canelo, so it strengthens their hold on the middleweight division. And Eric Gomez, who I like a lot, the president of Golden Boy, he's a good man. But to say Billy Joe gave a solid performance but not a crowd pleaser, I mean, come on. Now, if one of these boxers gave a performance like that, Oscar De La Hoya would have been out this morning. You'd have had press releases galore in your email this morning from Golden Boy Promotions. All you've had from them since Saturday night is one press release. They didn't even afford Billy Joe the courtesy of a press conference after the fight.
What do you make of David Lemieux's comments? I mean, I think the boxing world collectively rolled their eyes in his post-fight interview. There were 3 reasons there. 1, he wasn't at his best. 2, he'd hurt his hand. And 3, Billy Joe Saunders was just running. Yeah,
look, it was pretty classless, and it as everyone said. But you know what? I'm going to cut him a little bit of slack here. He was embarrassed. He's in his hometown. Imagine you're in your hometown. People have come out, spent their money just before Christmas to come and cheer you. They was expecting you. He was talking before the fight. He was going on Twitter saying how Billy Joe was going to be in a coffin.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, so you can't, See, he's been embarrassed in front of his own people there. Absolutely embarrassed. And I know people have come across him before. And I know I've never met him, and it is speak as you find. But I'm told there is quite an arrogant side to him.
I remember he lost to Golovkin as well. Golovkin stopped him, I think, in 8 rounds. And I can't remember his post-fight interview from that fight being particularly favourable as well. I think he said something like, well, we know what happened. I'm going to see you again. As though he'd been hard done by. So perhaps this is
well, he won't be seeing anybody again for a long time at the highest level because he was so well beaten. To me, that's a sort of defeat. It wasn't quite the brutality of Joe Kawasaki against Jeff Lacey, Dev, but it's a sort of fight where you're mentally destroyed in front of your own people, and he may never be the same fighter again. Not because of the physical belting he took, though he was hurt, because of mentally he's been destroyed in front of his own people. Now, will those people come out to see him again in Montreal?
We'll see. Well, obviously you caught up with Billy Joe Saunders, and we'll hear that interview very shortly. But Steve, firstly, what does Saunders do next? Is it now just a case of waiting around for the winner? Does he want to do that? Will he fight in between? Look, of Canelo Golovkin, of course.
I think he's got to fight. Unless, the suggestion is that they're pretty close to announcing the May 5 rematch between Canelo and Golovkin. Totally understandable. It is the biggest fight in the division. It makes the most money. They can either go to Las Vegas or go to Arlington in Texas, to the Dallas Cowboys Stadium with that fight. That is the biggest fight. Now, my guess is that if that gets signed, Billy Joe will have an interim fight in March time, and then go to Las Vegas or Dallas on May 5 and see what happens in that fight, and then see if he gets the winner of that. Because hey, and if they don't come to terms, Billy Joe can fight one of them next. But I certainly think we'll see Billy Joe out around March time. There's plenty of good fights out there for him that would maybe appeal someone like maybe like Martin Murray. I know you was banging the drum for that fight earlier this year, and there's other decent top 15 middleweights he can have that are keep him busy and what the public will like, and I'm sure we'll see him back. The important thing is that he doesn't have too long out at the gym, and when we hear his interview, he'll explain when he's planning back to be in camp in Sheffield with Dominic Ingle.
Well, let's hear from Billy Joe Saunders, who, Steve, you caught up with just earlier today.
Billy, just tell us your emotions right now that you've landed on British soil when you look back on what you achieved on Saturday night.
Look, I mean, I know deep down, I've had some bad performance in the past, some good, but I know deep down what I got in me, and it's no surprise that came out because I knew it, and I knew I've been away from home for 6 months, more or less now, training, 2 back-to-back camps. Out of 6 months, I've only had, 2 weeks at home. So I knew I was fit, and I knew that I could finish how I started. So I just thought, well, I know I'm that confident on that fit. I'll put on a display. Can't afford any close rounds. I said it before. Look, if I couldn't beat David Lemieux, it's pointless me talking about Golovkin and Canelo. I wasn't going over there for money. I was going over there. People thought because they was paying me well, I was going over there to take a check. But clearly wasn't the case. I was going over there to do what I knew I could do. And unfortunately for him, I did not.
What was your thoughts on that moment in the fight when he threw that wild swing and you looked out in the crowd? Because it's gone viral on YouTube and something everyone's talking about all over the world.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was acting the matador and he was the bull. All through the build-up of the fight, I was getting in his head. Even in the ring, when I was announcing our names, I was talking to him, laughing at him when they said 3 losses. And I wound him up. Then I walked over to his corner deliberately to get reaction out of him, and I got it. So I knew that I had him mentally before I even started. And he played on to the rest. I wanted him to come running at me how he normally does. And that's what happened. And, look, I'm a slick boxer. And I think that, personally, slick, I am most definitely the slickest middleweight in the world. So I'm looking forward to the big fights. People thought that I was going to... listen, it was a 50-50 fight in people's eyes, but in my own head, I knew what I could do to him. And it panned out the way it went in my head anyway.
In his interview afterwards, he wasn't very graceful, was he? What does you think of that sort of thing?
The way he's looked at, he's probably looked at a couple of... What they've done on Canelo and Golden Boy, they've looked at a couple of previous performances, probably looked at Scotland, semi-box terrible, semi-box Willie Monroe, slight improvement. So, they're only going on them performances. Now, Willie Monroe had a ring rust. He was an awkward, tricky opponent, and I still dealt with him now I needed to. And the ring rust completely went, and I knew that in training. Yeah. And unfortunately for them, they made a very, very bad mistake because they caught me on an absolute brilliant day because I'm fit, active, and busy and sharp. So, like I say, unfortunately for them, they caught me on a very, very good day, and I just dismounted him. It was easy. I've had a hard sparring session to lead up to the fight.
Yeah. And what was Golden Boy's reaction? Because I understand they didn't even give you a press conference afterwards, did they?
There was no press conference after. There was nothing. They just thought, out of gas. Lemieux was going to knock me out. Wasn't the case. Lemieux, I was a bit disappointed about it because if a man beat me in that fashion, I'd have to take my hat off to him and say, fair play, mate, you're a better man than me. Because, all up the build-up to this, he was going to do to me and what he wasn't. And he was saying in the interviews and that, and on the phone calls that he's had the best discount ever since he's been a pro. So, there was no excuses. I asked him that before. I don't want any excuses, and he did say that there won't be no excuses for me. But after the point, straight away blamed his hand, which I don't know where he got that from, because he only ever caught me one shot to the body, and that was about it. So, a couple of little shots here and there to the head. If he landed 10 out the whole fight, he was lucky.
Yeah. So, and let's just have a word about the job Dominic Ingle's done with you. I know it's you that do the training, but how it's worked for you so well going to Sheffield.
You know, listen, it speaks for itself. It speaks in volumes. Dominic Ingle, he's a magician. What he's done with me, him and Greg Barrett, my dietitian, which is living the life and listen to instructions. And I boxed to orders to that fight and got the job done. Yeah. And you know, I couldn't really done it without Dom because you know, in my eyes, he's learned a lot off his dad over the years with the big great fights, and that's done Dom in good stead. You know, he's put a lot of ground time in there, and it's paying off. You know, he really knows what he's doing. He knows good game plans, and he knows how to talk to a fighter, which is very important in the corner. And
you talk about miracles, but it would be a miracle if he could get a hair transplant somewhere that you promised to buy him.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to treat him to a nice wig for Christmas.
And what's the situation now? You're going to go and enjoy Christmas with your kids, your family, put on a bit of weight, and then is it straight back in January? You're going to wait till February to go in the camp and...
No. I'm going to have 4 weeks out, and already worked out with them. I'm back in the gym on the 16th of January.
Yeah.
So plenty of time. You know, 4 weeks is absolutely plenty of time. I 2 back-to-back camps, so I need a month off.
Of course you do.
You know, I need a month off to completely, you know, let the body ache down, and I'll probably go for a little couple of runs here and there. But, you know, it's just about resting up now, because that's important, this training. And even though I'm back in my game and fully on it, but, you know, you still got to get your rest. You know, you don't want to go 3 back-to-back camps because... But Dom's very good at that, you know, he's very good at judging, not overdoing stuff. He reminds me a bit of Jimmy Tibbs in certain ways. So, you know, that's one thing I just leave him to worry about, get me ready. I just do what I get told. So
would it be a warm-up in March, April, and then see what happens with Canelo and Golovkin in May?
Well, look, I want to keep it going now. I don't want, like I said, I don't want these fighters that people think I'm going to beat. I want these fighters that people say, yeah, this is a 50-50 fight. You know, because that brings the best out of me. You know, I need these fights now that what really means something to me, and that's the ones I'm looking for. So we'll see if they agree to fight me. If they're fighting each other in May and the winner agrees to fight me after, then I'll have a voluntary. If not, I don't mind getting another mandatory out the way. You know, while they come and keep doing them. So I'll have 2 back-to-back, so 3 won't hurt.
Oh, Bill, well, thanks for talking to us this morning, Bill. I know you've only landed an hour ago, and just enjoy your Christmas with the kids and playing pool with all your mates.
Thank you very much, Steve. God bless you, mate.
Well, we had the BoxNation Christmas meal last week, which was plenty of fun, as always, and I caught up with one of the brightest prospects in British boxing. He's making a real name for himself. It's young, undefeated super featherweight Zelfa Brown Flash Barrett. So this year you beat Chris Conwell, you won the English title, you're the English super featherweight champion. That was in October. Yep. It's December now. What have you been doing?
Well, I've been training, I've been eating, I've been enjoying life. Just it feels good to train and eat what you want and just stay up late. It feels good, it feels a bit normal. Yeah. But I'm getting back into the routine now. I want a fight date. I want to get back out there. Or keep getting better.
You say you stay up late. What does this mean? Does this mean you're going out and you're gallivanting, or is this a Netflix binge? What are we talking about, Zelfa?
No, this is a Call of Duty, FIFA staying up late. Yeah. That's what kind of staying up late it is.
You good then? Good at your FIFA?
I'm very good. Yeah. I'm the best. Say I'm the best in Manchester. Yeah, I'll put it out there. I will put it out there. I am the best in Manchester.
Well, if any of our listeners want to challenge Zelfa Barrett to that title of best in Manchester, maybe you might even be best in the UK. What do you reckon?
Well, you know what? There's some good competitors in the UK, but you know, I take the best in Manchester route because there's some good players.
So that win against Chris Conwell made you the English champion. You've had time now to reflect on that performance. What did you think of it?
It was okay. I knew he couldn't punch, so there's a couple of things I should have done more. Move my head a bit more. A few more jabs. There's a lot more to improve. So, of course, the better the opponent, no disrespect to Chris, the better I'll be. The more on the ball I'll be. Like I said, didn't really respect his power. I didn't get caught a lot, but for my kind of standards are in the gym the way we are, I got hit, so I had time to reflect on what I need to do and how to get better.
You did a move in that fight where you slapped down his glove and smashed him. I think it was right. Was it right?
With the left hand and hit with the right.
That was it. Yeah, you swiped him with the left and hit him with the right. That's a Lomachenko move from what I've seen. So does that mean you study Lomachenko?
Yeah, he's one of my best fighters, Lomachenko, to be honest with you.
You're in the same weight, you know.
Yeah, he's going up. Yeah. It's okay. He's going up. But yeah, man, Lomachenko's a good fighter. I'm a Crawford fan, essentially, but Lomachenko's a good fighter, man. And of course, a wise man, Nick's bits. I stole the jab from Mr. Skeete over there. He doesn't know that, but yeah, I stole it. But yeah, man, I study boxing, so when you study boxing and you watch tapes, you do things that you don't even mean to do. It's just natural that comes to you at night when you're watching boxing and you're doing your homework. You do things that you even surprise yourself about. So yeah.
Going back to that show in Leeds where you won the English title, on the same show, Lyon Woodstock, he won the WBO European title. Did you watch his performance?
No, I'll be honest with you, I only caught the last round because I was doing an interview in the changing room, so I come out in the last round and see some blood, sweat and tears in that kind of fight. It's not a fight you really want to be in. It puts miles on the clock, but if you have to do it, you got to do it. Showing he's got heart and character.
Do you rate him highly as a fighter, Lyon?
I rate him as a person. He's a nice guy. He's a good fighter. Anybody in my weight division, they all can get it. So I'll just say he's a good fighter, and I respect him as a person.
We're at the Christmas meal today, and you're sat pretty much opposite him. I don't know if that's been done on purpose or not. It makes a nice picture. Do you chat? Like, were you able to talk to him? Is there banter there, or?
Listen, I only do my talking in the ring, man. There'll be no fight talk. There's nothing personal, so he's got nothing to say. So he's a cool guy, man. He's just obviously doing his mum proud and wants to do his family proud. So you can't take that away from him. Not really no banter there. I'm a banter guy. I'll banter with anyone. But he's a cool guy, man. I respect him.
Tell me, what's your New Year's resolution? Do you have one, Zelfa?
Well, these man want me to drive, so the New Year resolution is to drive.
We've got Bradley Skeete and Lyndon Arthur here as well, and they're all just pointing at Zelfa and urging him to learn to drive. So, have you got any L plates yet, or?
Listen, you'll see P plates for past. That's what you'll see. But yeah, man, I will drive eventually. I think it's about time now. I don't really want to drive, but you know.
Are you like scrounging lifts off people?
Yeah,
and that?
I'm a scrounger. Yeah. I'm an Uber man and I'm a scrounger. Listen, you're lucky I'm not getting left off Lyndon because I'm asking you for a lift on. Oh, Bradley, so you know what I'm saying? I'm a scrounger like that. I'd help a man out. But yeah, I will drive eventually.
And finally, so we talked about your New Year's resolution, which sounds like it's going to be to learn to drive. This is just something I'm going to ask everyone. What's your 2020 vision?
2020, I'll be British champion. No doubt I'll probably be British champion next year. And I would have defended it, done what Brad done. I would defend it outright. And then we want to go for the European route. It sounds like we're planning ahead, but without a plan, there's no destination. You need to plan what you're going to do. And that's our plan, to win the British, win it outright, European, world honours. I'm not thinking too far. I believe in myself, I believe in my team, I believe in God. And yeah, I believe I'll be defending my British title.
And finally, one thing, I was doing a bit of YouTube the other day, and I stumbled across, I think it was a grime, I think that's what you kids are calling it these days, it was a grime video, Bugsy Malone, and I see my man Zelfa Barrett on a car bonnet, bobbing his head along to a beat. Talk to me about this.
I was just supporting a friend, man. He did a video. Surely you've seen Lyndon's big beard and a moody face on that video somewhere. But yeah, man, I was just supporting a friend, you know. Like he'll come support me when I fight, so that's what we do. We're all about supporting Manchester. We all want each other to be successful, so yeah, man, I took my place in there. Got a few people wanted a few pictures of me from that, so yeah, man, I'll take credit from that.
Nice one, Zelfa. Anything you want to add?
Stay fit, stay healthy, and everybody stay blessed, man. That's all I can say.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, man. Oh yeah, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Yeah, man.
Cheers. Well, that was Zelfa Brown Flash Barrett that we heard from there. He's 19-0 as a professional and recently became the English Super Featherweight Champion. We're now going to do something quite fun here, as we're going to hear from another red-hot Super Featherweight prospect. Recently became the WBO European Super Featherweight Champion. He's 10-0. His name is Lyon Woodstock Jr. and he joins us on the phone.
What's your opinion of Zelfa as a fighter and a person?
I don't get what, like, you guys asked him, do you rate him as a fighter? And how can he say he, like, I don't like it when people can't say what they're really thinking or feeling. If you don't rate me as a fighter, say that. Do you know what I'm saying? Don't say, I rate him as a person. Like, that's just being a bitch. I don't like bitches. I don't like that. Do you know what I mean? If you don't rate me as a fighter, make yourself known. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I do. Do you know what I mean? I rate him as a fighter and as a person. But if you don't rate me as a fighter, then say that. Do you know what I mean? Say it. Make it known. Don't beat around the bush. I ain't that type of person. I've been brought up like that. I ain't grew up around that. Be real. Get what I'm saying? And I'll say that to any fighter. And yes, I'm not some stupid, bitter person. I'm gonna be like, no, I don't rate him. I rate him as a fighter and as a person. He's an alright guy, but I ain't cool with that beating around the bush stuff. If you don't rate me as a fighter, make it known. Do you get what I'm saying? Make it known. So I know that. So I know where I stand with you, and then I know where to put you. Do you get what I'm saying?
Leon, you sat.
That's it. That's all I've got to say on that interview.
You were sat opposite him at the Christmas meal. It was good to see you, by the way.
Yeah.
Did you chat at all to Zelfa? How did it end up that you were sat opposite each other?
When I walked in there, there was 4 fighters in there. There was Terry Flanagan. There was Lyndon Arthur, Zelfa Barrett, and Josh Warrington. That's his name. Josh Warrington was sitting. I walked in. I was like, yo, is everyone good? Like, hi. No one said nothing. So I sat down and I was like, all right, cool. And you know what it felt like? It felt like the popular kids, like in the class, sitting all together, and then like the unknown kid just sitting there. But I like that. Do you know what I mean? I like that feeling. I've always been a lone wolf. That even before boxing, if I've had trouble on the streets, you always get those people that roll with about 10, 15 different guys. I was never that guy. I had never had no one back in my corner, never. That's why I always found it strange to have Hodge behind me, like someone actually on my side for once. It was always me on my own. If I've had problems, I'd have to roll up to these places on my own. You get what I'm saying? Against 10 different people, all there. You get what I'm saying? I've always been like that, so I liked it. I like that. They can be like that towards me. I'm not bothered. They can all be like that. I'm not bothered what they're thinking about me or what anyone thinks about me, because I know that I'm true to myself and I'm true to my people. Yeah. So that's calm. That's calm. But as soon as Yarde came in, my man sat next to me. Everything was calm, talking this, that, and the other. Do you know what I mean? I like Yarde. He's all right. And Tunde, I like them 2 people are good people.
Have you developed then a siege mentality around other boxers then?
No. It's not even that. If you're good to me, I'll be good to you. It's as real as that. It's as real as that. I don't like people. I don't like rude, arrogant people like that. There was no need to ignore me when I came in there. I ain't never done nothing to them people, apart from spar one of them. And then when everyone left, then Josh Warrington was talking to me after, which I found, I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe it was a misunderstanding or something. I don't know. But it was rude. It was rude.
Who was it that you sparred with? Is that Terry Flanagan you've sparred with?
Yeah, it was a good spar. I'd like to spar again, but we've asked to go down, but it never happened again.
So when do you think one of the great fights in British boxing that could be made over the next 2 or 3 years, even sooner, is yourself against Zelfa? When would you like it to happen, and when do you think it will happen?
I want it to happen whenever. Personally, as soon as possible. I'm not trying to wait out nothing. Do you know what I mean? I'm here to fight. Why does the so-called best not fight the best? Do you know what I'm saying? Why don't that happen? That's how it should happen. But I understand the business side as well. People say you have to build it up, this, that, and the other. Rah. All right, cool. I'm just here to fight. I ain't bothered about all that. Put me in the ring with whoever, and then you guys will see what will happen. I ain't bothered. Like I said already in one of my previous interviews, in the British rankings, in the amateurs, yeah, I went to Elite Championship with 16 fights. Everyone in there had 60-plus fights. I ended up fighting a guy that had 75 fights, 70 wins, and dropped him in the first round and beat him. I was rated number 3 in the country. I had to fight twice in one night, and I knocked both the lads out. It's documented. Go and find out. I knocked both the lads out with an hour in between both of them. I was rated number 3 in the country, and I went in there with 16 fights. Zelfa was rated number 8. I didn't even know anything about Zelfa. The only time I've heard about Zelfa is when he turned pro. That is it. That's when I started seeing about him and seeing his class and what he's doing. But other than that, I didn't know about him.
Let me just ask you one more thing there, what Zelfa said. He referred to he caught the last round of your fight against Craig Poxon, which was a very good win. He said that sort of fight puts miles on the clock. What do you say to him?
That's what happens. This is the sport we came in. We came into this sport to fight. The best people to go against the best people. People are really downgrading Craig Poxon. I don't understand why. He is a good operator. Look at the people he's been in the ring with. He's a good fighter. He's a very good fighter. People are not giving him the props that he deserves. And I knew he was good before I got in there. And I knew people were going to put him down before I fought him anyway. It's only natural to happen. But listen, greatness will always find its level, no matter what. It'll always find its place. There's nothing that can get in the way. I could be held back. I could have like a squabble with managers, trainers, whatever. Greatness, no matter what, will always find its level. It doesn't matter what's in the way, what's trying to hold it down. You will not hold it down, and it will always rise to the occasion. Always.
Well, we're definitely looking forward to seeing you back in the ring, Lyon. A couple of questions that I asked Zelfa, I'm just going to ask you as well. Just we're taking it down a notch or two. Let's. You got any New Year's resolutions?
Just keep doing what I'm doing and keep moving forward. I don't really do New Year's resolutions. I don't really celebrate Christmas either. I'm just about training, going forward, and being the best Lyon Woodstock I can be. That's what I strive to do every single day, not just for a New Year's resolution.
So you'll be training on Christmas Day?
Yeah, I'll be in the gym.
2020 visions?
You know what? I would like to see myself within inches of some sort of world title or something. That's what I'd like to see by 2020. Like, in boxing, that's a long time. You know what I'm saying? I would like to see myself there. That's what I'd like to see within inches of a world title, whether I'm fighting for doing an eliminator or fighting for the world title. I'd like to see myself somewhere about there.
Well, I would ask you your favourite Christmas film and your favourite Christmas song, but you just told me you don't like Christmas.
I like Home Alone. If that's classed as a Christmas film, Home Alone. I like Home Alone. That's a good film. Yeah.
Everyone's saying Home Alone. Home Alone's the one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good film. I think because a lot of the fighters around now that's when it came out in the 90s, isn't it? We was that kind of age, so that's gonna be our favourite film, really.
Steve, you got anything you want to ask Lyon before we let him go?
Great talking to you, Lyon, and I don't celebrate Christmas. Have a Merry Christmas, and I hope you bought your mum something nice anyway.
It's all for my daughter now, do you know what I mean? So I'll do what needs to be done for her so she can have a good Christmas. But having her on Christmas Day and that will be my Christmas. You know what I'm saying?
Top man.
All right, Lyon. Cheers, mate. See you soon.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye. Well, Steve, we've heard from Zelfa, we've heard from Lyon. A quick word, it's too soon for them to fight, right?
Hey, the rivalry, isn't it? Marinade, that's that word Eddie Earn, you like to use marinade. So I'm not going to use that word. I have used it, so that's a stupid thing to say. Look, it's a fight it's going to happen. I'd like it to happen when there's plenty of money for them both, because someone could well be losing an unbeaten record and being delayed 18 months in their career. But what a fight it is. I happen to think Zelfa Barrett is... outside the heavyweights Frank Warren's got, I think he's the best prospect that Frank's got in his stable. I think he's a magnificent prospect. He lives the life well, always in the gym, dedicated, loves boxing, very, very nice fella as well to boot. And when him and Lyon do fight, it's going to be a magnificent build-topper for BT and BoxNation viewers.
Ooh, definitely. You talk about living the life there. As Lyon said, he'll be training on Christmas Day. I remember Lyon saying there is no such thing as training camp, he said at a recent press conference. What is camp? What is training camp? What's this that people are talking about? It's because he doesn't have one. He trains year-round, 24/7.
He's had a really, really hard life in Leicester. You know, his mum's brought him up superbly. She's given him a good direction in life. And when he went to hug his trainer, he's more than a trainer to him. And boxing has given him his life. And what he's seen out there, he's most probably seen, apart from boxing, there's little for him. He's seen friends killed. You know, he's had it bloody hard in Leicester. And he's making, this most probably is one opportunity in life to make something of it. and he's going to do everything in his powers to make sure it comes to fruition successfully.
Well, we went from a Manchester-based fighter in Zelfa, Barrett, to a Leicester-based fighter in Lyon, Woodstock. Now we are taking you back up north as we hear from the former WBO lightweight champion of the world, Terry Flanagan. He looks set to fight Maurice Hooker in early 2018 for the vacant WBO super lightweight title. And here's what Terry had to say at the BoxNation Christmas meal. So what do you know about Maurice Hooker then? This would be for the WBO super lightweight title. It would make you a two-weight world champion if you win. What do you know about him?
I don't know much about him personally, but what I've seen of him, he just looks very tall, awkward, pretty loose. I think it's a fight that I can win, a fight I know I can win, and a fight I want. I mean, I've been talking about moving up now for the past year, and yeah, I think it's shown in my last few performances. I've been a bit tight at the weight, and hopefully you'll see a better fighter at 10 stone.
You seem to be getting closer and closer to one of the bigger fights at 135 pounds, and it almost came out of the blue when you moved up in weight. Can you talk us through those last few moments at 135 pounds?
It was the fights was talking about for years. I mean, at one stage it was me and Crawler who was both world champion, and I wanted a massive Manchester unification fight, and before one of us lost our titles, and sadly he lost his title, and I don't think that the fight was as big, but it was a fight I still wanted. Manchester derby, like City United, could have played it any way you wanted, but yeah, I mean, Linares got offered the fight time and time again, and it seemed to be after I moved up, they always saying yeah they would have had the fight, but listen, as soon as Crawford vacated, I thought there's my chance now to step up and become a two-weight world champion, which is give me that, spur me on in the gym and give me something to train for.
Do you think a fight with you and Anthony Crolla will ever happen now, or has that gone?
I don't know. It's one of them. If it does, it's never going to have the shine on it like it would have done. But yeah, hopefully the fight can still happen. But like you say, with the rivals in promotion, and it might never happen, no.
And moving away from that, Terry, what's your favourite Christmas film?
Home Alone.
Yeah. So many people have said Home Alone.
Yeah, even the baby loves it. He's only 4. He loves watching it.
The first one, the second one, or the third?
Always the first one. The first one in anything's always the best, isn't it?
And what is your favourite Christmas song? I'm not going to ask you to sing it. Actually, I am. What's your favourite Christmas song, and can you sing it?
I'm definitely not singing it. It'd be the one off Home Alone, Dreaming of a White Christmas.
Yeah. That's a classic.
Yeah.
Any others?
There's a few good ones, isn't there? But no, that's the one that stands out.
New Year's resolutions? Got any? Do you make them? Do you keep them?
I don't bother making them. I mean, obviously it'd be to become a two-weight world champion, which is going to happen early next year, and yeah, no, really, I don't really bother. Do everything right anyway.
So we're heading into 2018. Where do you see yourself in 2020, and what is your 2020 vision? I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, where do I see myself in 2020? Still boxing, hopefully at the highest level, but boxing's funny. Once you're at the highest level, it's staying there what's hard, so yeah, hopefully we're still fighting for world titles and defending world titles.
What does life after boxing hold for you? Have you got anything lined up? Is there anything on your mind?
Nothing, I swear. People ask me this, what you're going to do when you stop boxing, but I just always see myself as I'm going to be boxing forever. I don't really plan for the future, probably just see what happens. Yeah. I can't see myself going into coaching, but you never know.
And finally, any message for the BoxNation podcast listeners?
No, not really, I'm looking forward to putting on a show for everyone in the new year and becoming a two-weight world champion and proving Frank right, who's stuck by me and shown like how much he thinks of me, and he said to me, it's like he understands I'm frustrated for not getting them big fights, but maybe this is a new me. In the end, I'm gonna be 2-weight world champion, and fighters below the likes of Linares, Garcia, they're going to move up eventually anyway. I'll be holding the belts when they do.
And I'm sure they will move up. Also highly ranked, of course, in the WBO at £140 is our own Jack Catterall. Do you rate him?
Yeah, I think he's a good fighter. I mean, southpaw like myself, very strong, and yeah, it's a good fighter. Yeah, probably a fight down the line, maybe.
Have you sparred?
Yeah, we've sparred a lot. I sparred him for the when I won the world title against Cepeda. I used him for that, and yeah, good. Still only young as well, so still learning.
So it's a fight that could probably happen down the line.
I think so. Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, we're both under Frank, and yeah, it's a fight what I can see happening in the future.
Well, Steve, that was Terry Flanagan. Look, for me, it's an absolute travesty that this Crawler fight didn't happen, but it looks like he's going ahead and he's moving up to £140 and he's going to take on Maurice Hooker for the vacant world title. What do you make of the whole Terry Flanagan situation where he is now?
It's a shame the Linares and Crawler fight never happened. I think the Linares fight was close on one or two reasons. It didn't happen, and Terry got a lot of the blame for this, I think, because of a tweet he put out saying it was done and dusted, but then goalposts got moved one way or the other, and it hasn't happened. So that's by the way for now. But there's no reason to say the fight can't happen if Terry wins the WBO super lightweight title against Mo Hooker in March or April. I think it's going to take place. I'm not sure it'll be here in America or what the situation is, but that's the fight that's going to happen. And if Terry rings that, there are plenty of paydays for him. You know, Linares might then move up, and of course the one we'd like over here is Jack Catterall.
Yes, of course.
But look, Terry has. I train with Terry running, and he's been really, really tight at this lightweight for more than a year now. And I think when the Linares fight fell through, he could have done it for that sort of high risk fight because it was a marquee fight. But there was no option really but to move up when that fight went awry. He's had weight problems, and you know, I think he'll be suited to this weight. I was with Bradley Skeete last week when we done the Jeff Horn, Gary Corcoran fight, and he was talking about the Christmas lunch where you was all boozing at and stuff. Not the boxers, but you were dead by all accounts. Carried down the Angel escalators at Angel Tube Station. Mrs. Sahni wasn't very happy. Anyway, that's by the
slander.
That's by the by. But no, and Bradley was saying that Terry will even be big at that weight. He looks like a welterweight to him.
He's huge. He's absolutely huge, Terry Flanagan. Well, we were talking about Terry Flanagan, who's now at £140. Let's go up £7. Let's go to welterweight. You mentioned Bradley Skeete there, Steve. I caught up with Bradley Skeete at that party where you are alleging that I was so drunk I was carried back to the tube station. It's just not true, and Mrs. Sahni, it's not true. But here's what Bradley Skeete had to say when I asked him the question on everyone's lips in boxing. So why are you ducking Golovkin?
Because it just do you know what? I think even the amount of people ducking me, it wouldn't be surprising if he ducked me. Nah, I'm not playing, but nah, it's all good. I just can't get a fight, Div. I just can't get a fight. No one wants this work.
Well, you had two fights this year, 2017. Shane Singleton and Dale Evans, both dominant displays, especially the Singleton one. When you reflect back on the year, what do you think?
Yeah, do you know what? I've got to look back on. I've only boxed twice, but I won my British title outright. So to look back at a year where I won my British title outright, what I set out to do, a boyhood dream, I'm happy. I'm really happy.
Do you have any regrets at all for lingering around at British level when perhaps there were world level fights maybe there for you?
Yeah, well, looking back, I wouldn't say I would regret it because I can take that British title to the grave with me. That's mine now. That's mine for keeps, and not many people can say they've done it. And I'm one of them people now. My name's in the history books, and the decision I made to stay up domestic level and win it outright, I think it was a good one. I know Frank wasn't too pleased with me wanting to stay around domestic level, and then maybe I did miss out on some good opportunities there for me, but I believe if I'm good enough, then I'm good enough. Them opportunities will come again, and we nearly got that opportunity. But if it weren't for Jeff Horn and his team swerving the fight, then I'd be a world champion by Christmas. I would have went over there and got that world titles. But
and you're adamant you beat Jeff Horn and he swerved the fight with you?
100%, 100%. You just got to look like, probably not many people know the facts, but the facts were, I got offered the fight, I accepted the fight, the terms and everything was agreed. The last conversation I had was we're waiting on the contract to be sent over to sign. Obviously Jeff Horn and his people's gone and done their research, and then have come back and said they're looking at another opponent. There's no reason. At the time I was ranked number 3 with the WBO and fit and available to fight. Why is there? And then they're putting out press statements that I'm not an exciting fighter, I'm a boring fighter. They swerved the fight. They swerved the fight. That's what I believe. That's what I know. I know it's a fact. They swerved the fight. They're saying they want an exciting fight after coming off Pacquiao. They just knew, deep down they knew that I was going out there and I would have given him a boxing lesson.
So it sounds like you're back in February at the Copper Box, and do you know who you're fighting, or you got any idea? Do you want to fight? I mean, who do you want to fight?
Do you know what I said? I said I'd like to fight the guy who beat Sam Egerton for the European title. When Sam Egerton was the European champion, I said I felt I was past European level because I'd beat Sam Egerton and I beat him well. So I put myself beyond European level. So now he's been beat, and the opportunity of Jeff Horn was gone. Then that's the only really option that I was really thinking I could go down, and it's another belt, and then I'd have cleared up. Then I'd have started winning Southern Area, English, British, Commonwealth, European. I'd had this full set, so it'd have been nice for me personally, and good to get that sort of experience and box at that level for a bit, and then maybe the opportunity would come up for a world title fight later in the year. But I don't think that's possible. I don't know what's going on there with that, but yeah, I just have to wait and see. Leave it to Frank and Andy to decide. But I need meaningful fights now. I'm at that level. I cleared up domestically. I'm not looking back at I'm still the holder of the British title, but I'll be moving on. I'm not fighting no domestic fighters. I've cleared up. I believe I'm the number 1 at the weight. With Kelbrook moving up to light middle, I'm the number 1 at the weight, and there's no one really at domestic level who can get near me. So I'll be moving on definitely, and just see what they set out for me for February.
And there were whispers before a certain Amir Khan went in the jungle that he was offered the fight with you and didn't take it. Well, you know more than me. What's the situation with that?
I believe Frank offered them the fight. I think money got spoke, but they obviously rejected it. I think obviously he went in the jungle. That might be why he obviously knew he had that. But now he's talking that. I've seen him put out a statement or a tweet or on Instagram or something. He's coming back, and he's coming back at 147. So if that's a fight I'd love, it's a massive fight for the British public. He's a world level fighter. That's the level I want to mix at. So why not? I believe that's a great fight.
And do you rate Amir Khan?
Yeah. He's what two division world champion. He's a good fighter. He's a quality operator, and I want to test myself. And the likes of Amir Khan, that's a great name for me to get in and test myself against.
Do you have a message for Amir if he is listening? I mean, he's probably amongst the millions listening to the BoxNation podcast every week. What's your message to Amir Khan?
So no, I'm not one to talk and be disrespectful or anything. I respect him and I rate him as a fighter, but he wants to come back. I know he's basing himself back in the UK now. He wants to fight at welterweight. I've got world rankings with the governing bodies. I'm the number 1 at the weight. I'm the British champion at the weight. If he's looking at a fight, then why not fight me? If there's a fight there, I'll be ready to fight. So he could get on with me.
Well, Amir Khan, if you're listening, Bradley Super Skeete is ready and waiting. Bradley, moving on to something a bit more fun. Tell me, what's your favourite Christmas film?
Christmas film? Oh, Home Alone, I'd say. Yeah. Home Alone, yeah. I've got
First one, second one, third one?
No, the first one. Yeah. The first one's got to be the original. Yeah, Home Alone.
What about your favourite Christmas song at this festive time?
I'd say, I don't know, little Jingle Bells or something.
Can you sing Jingle Bells for me, please?
I can, but I'm not now.
We nearly got an exclusive for the BoxNation podcast right there. Bradley, anything you want to add?
No, just I've had a great year, and one thing I'd like to say a massive thank you for all the fans and all the support I get. They're as me being patient, they're being patient. I know I've only boxed twice this year, but I'm out in February in London, which is a big thing for me. So yeah, I hope you all can make it down and come and support. And yeah, thank you for the support. Like continued support, because from day dot I've had loyal fans and loyal support. So a big thank you.
Long may that continue. Thanks, Bradley. Cheers. Steve Lillis, Bradley Skeete versus Amir Khan. Why not?
Hey, why not? Amir's looking to come back. It's the sort of fight. He says he's still going to get down to welterweight. It's the sort of fight you'd think if he's going to have aspirations of winning another world title, it's the sort of fight he'd expect to win. I.e., Bradley Skeete would see it as the chance for him to finally get his world title chance. How unlucky has Bradley been? We got boxers in this country who barely fight a British fighter and go on and get world title shots, and then you've got Bradley Skeete, who's fought everyone domestically and just can't get out of that domestic level through no fault of his own. Terence Crawford moving up to 147 has buggered him, shall we say, of getting the WBO title fight there that we all expected, because we know Crawford's going to fight Horn, and that freezes Bradley out there.
I think even Horn's trying to sort of get out of that fight. He's been talking about Anthony Mundine.
Anthony Mundine, and I saw talk of he could go up a weight to and he didn't seem too keen on that fight in the interview he had in the ring after he defeated Gary Corcoran. So at the moment, Bradley looks out the picture. Bradley's looking, so Bradley, obviously, Amir Khan's a fight to get back in it, because the only other chance of him getting a world title fight is if he gets called to America to fight an Errol Spence or a Keith Thurman. But those two seem to be trying to get their own business together at some stage in 2018. So I've been speaking to Bradley, and he sees, unless he gets someone like Khan, he's frozen out for another year. But I think it's so unlucky, because he's done it the right way, fighting British fighters, winning British and European titles, and he cannot get that world title chance. When you have so many other fighters who barely fight a British fighter and get a battery of world title chances. I'm really sorry for Bradley, and he deserves more.
Well, Bradley Skeete is back on the 10th of February at the Copper Box Arena. There hasn't been an opponent announced yet, but I'm sure there will be very, very soon. He shares a card with the world's fastest KO in a world title fight holder, Zolani Tete. Anthony Yarde is on, and Daniel Dubois is on. You can get tickets at frankwarren.com. That's February 10th at the Copper Box Arena for Bradley Skeete's return. Well, that's a show that Frank Warren announced for 2018. Another show we're expecting to see is Josh Warrington headlining at Elland Road. We can only assume against Lee Selby. Well, I grabbed a quick word with Josh last week, and we just had a little chat about Christmas. It's a festive time. Here's what Josh Warrington had to say. Josh, do you like Christmas?
Love Christmas. I love this time of year. It's put the tree up, put the same records on what we've listened to for the last 30 years.
And what are they? What's your favourite Christmas song?
Oh mate, this differs from time to time. I think this year I love the Chris Reed, Driving Home for Christmas. Yeah, listen, it's a lovely tune, is that? That's got to be up there. A bit of Shaking Stevens, Pogues, all the big ones. I do like the little drummer boy with
I know the song.
David Bowie and that one, David Bowie and who's the other? Dev, come on, don't be pulling faces like that. Who's it? Oh. But yeah, you know which one we get. So yeah, that's good.
A good selection there. Some I know, some evidently I don't. Favourite Christmas film?
I don't know, but Home Alone's got to be up there.
Yeah.
Elf.
Yeah.
Die Hard.
Yeah, not a lot of people know it is actually a Christmas film, secretly.
It's 100% a Christmas film. John McClane Saves Christmas.
Yeah.
Jingle All the Way with Arnie.
Yeah, the Turbo Man doll. Do an Arnie impression for us. Go on, what you got?
Got to get to the chopper.
Not bad.
Wrong film, like.
Yeah. I don't think he says that in it. It's more about getting the Turbo Man doll, isn't it?
That's Predator.
And finally, just because I've been asking everyone else, just because it sounds good, what's your 2020 vision?
What do you mean, as in when I go to opticians and sit down and look at
yeah, partly. But also, where do you see yourself in 2020?
So what? That's like a couple of years from now. So I'd like to have thought that, you know, I've boxed at Ellen Road, I've won the world title. I'd like to have thought that I've mixed in with a few of the big names and had a little trip at Vegas. And maybe, like, you know, peak years in my career. And yeah, just start thinking about probably at that stage, start thinking about getting fat and start thinking about calling it a day and getting into porn or something like that.
Getting into
porn.
Are you? Have you got the right attributes to succeed in that industry?
Not really, but God loves a tryer.
Thanks, Josh.
Cheers, mate.
Well, that was Josh Warrington. He cites some of his goals as winning a world title at Ellen Road, having a fight in Vegas, and he's eyeing up a career in porn once he's done his job in the ring. Steve, how many of these are achievable?
Well, hey, he could easily make a porn film. I mean, I don't know what Mrs. Warrington would think about it. He's only newlyweds. I think when the Warrington family listen to this podcast, Josh might be sleeping in the doghouse for Christmas, and the dog might be in the house with his wife. You know, getting the turkey, well, he gets the scraps. He's good value. I'll give him that. But you know what? I'm not going to name names. I know a British boxer that's travelled around Europe and made 150.
No.
Porn movies. I'm not going to name him.
No.
He doesn't deserve it to be named, but I do. Anyway, but Las Vegas.
Will you tell me off air?
I might tell you off air.
I can't wait to hear. This is amazing. Well, I'm trying to think who could it be.
But he was also talking Las Vegas, and it's something he's brought up quite a lot, Dev. And take aside the 35,000 that Hatton took to Vegas for the Mayweather fight just over 10 years ago. If it's in the right time of the year, out of the football season, Josh Warrington could easily take 6,000 or 7,000 to Las Vegas with him. Leeds United fans, without a shadow of a doubt. And if he did win a world title, he wouldn't be short of offers to go there because of the fan base he could take and the money he could bring into a hotel. That is not, you know, people look at Josh and they make him the underdog against Selby and Frampton. But if he got a world title fight, it's more than possible he could go to Las Vegas and defend it with an army of fans there that bring back the Ricky Hatton days.
Well, fingers crossed that happens. I mean, if any fighter can do it, Josh Warrington can. And it's been over a month now since Liam Smith and Liam Williams battled it out in a big rematch in Newcastle. Smith got the points win and will move on to inevitably fight for the WBO World Super Welterweight title. I caught up with Liam Williams last week at the BoxNation Christmas dinner, and I asked him if he's watched the fight back.
Yeah, I've watched it back a couple of times. Well, quite a lot of times actually. Again, good fight, credit to Liam Smith. He fought a very good fight, but I genuinely believe I'd done enough and possibly could have took the fight after watching it back. I pressed the majority of the action, landed the cleanest shots I feel, but you know it's pointless going over and over. It's done now. He's going to fight for a world title again. I wish him, you know, only the best. I hope he can win in, bring it back and give me another pop, you know, which I believe, you know, I've got enough credit to get that fight again because we've had two great fights. Not that I take too much of the first one because it ended, you know, unsatisfactory, but second fight was very good hard 12 rounds, and I believe it's only going to be better if we do it again.
Did he surprise you, impress you in the rematch?
Yeah, he did surprise me a little bit because before the fight I kept saying he can't change his style. I knew he could change his style. I was just, you know, basically trying to piss him off because because obviously he's quality and I know he can adapt. So I knew that would wind him up a little bit, you know, because he was trying to get under my skin, but he's quality, he changed his style, come out, work behind a very good jab, good upper body movement, good defence as always, William Smith, and yeah, he fought a quality fight, so credit to him. Yeah, you know, but that part of my career is over with now, until we fight again, if we do fight again. I'm just looking to take step forwards and you know, try and pick up some more titles along the way and just get the big fights and get meaningful fights.
Well, say you were to fight again, say Liam gets the fight with Saddam Ali, which there's every reason why he should. He's highly ranked with the WBO, I think is the mandatory. So he wins that title from Saddam Ali, and he comes home and defends it against you. What would you do differently in a third fight with Liam Smith?
To be honest, I don't feel I can say all these different things, but in all honesty, I don't think I'll do a great deal differently. There's little things I could have brushed up on, but it's just talks at the moment, so I'm not even going to think too much about that until the fight is done and we're in camp training for that fight. That's when I'll make the real adjustments, So, but I spoke to Liam Smith after the fight, and I also spoke to Frank, and Smith promised me that if he gets the opportunity, and if there's no bigger meaningful fights there for him, I get first defence. So, and Frank promised me the same thing, so I hope they can both, I hope he does win the title, regardless of whether I get the fight or not. He beat me, he done very well, and he deserves to win again. So, but if he does, I hope they stick to their word and they give me that opportunity again.
Moving to Christmas. Are you a fan of Christmas, Liam?
Yeah, you could say that, it's, when you get older, it's not really about you, is it? You tend to make it more about the kids, and like for me now, I get my enjoyment from seeing my nephews and my daughter enjoying themselves. It's a good time for everybody. You tend to get together with a lot of friends, which you don't really get a chance to normally. Everybody's off work, everybody's free, and everybody's in good spirits. So I suppose it's only a good thing, and everybody's happy, so it's always good.
Tell me your favourite Christmas film.
Oof. I like Grinch.
I watched that the other night.
Can't beat it. That's why I say, because I watched it the other day myself. I watched it with my daughter, and she was just going, she's seen the Grinch, she's going, because he's nasty, But that's the reason why that come to mind straight away. But it's good, I'm not really a massive. I don't watch too many Christmas films, but that's one for me which stands out. It's good.
And what about your favourite Christmas song?
Give me some. Tell me some. I can't really think of it.
Well, I'll tell you, Anthony Yarde earlier, he said Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You.
Nah, I'm not feeling it.
No? There's loads, isn't there? There's Christmas Time, Mistletoe, I think that's his name.
I'm thinking of one, but I can't think of the name.
Are you just getting me to sing to you?
Maybe. I generally can't think of the name of it, but I'll have to come back to you on that one.
I'm gonna hold you to that, Liam.
I'll come back to you on that one. Give me half hour, I'm sure it'll come back to me.
Any final message to the BoxNation podcast listeners?
Just thank you very much as always for your support. It means the world to me, and keep watching, because the journey continues and there's bigger and better things to come, 100%.
Thanks, Liam, and good luck for 2018.
Good man, thank you very much.
Steve, Liam Williams, he can come again. I'm sure that there's some great fights for him there.
Oh, he can come again, domestic, European, world level. He's still a very young man, very fresh young man. The thing with boxing is losses shouldn't mean the end of the world. And in Liam's case, it certainly doesn't mean the end of the world. Look, he's not going to go straight back in at the level of Liam Smith, and I don't think Gary Lockett or Frank Warren would want him to. I'm not sure if he's still got the British title or not, because he lost at championship weight. I'm not sure the rule. I know there was some rule with some organisations, if you lose at championship weight, you're stripped of any title. So I don't know what the situation is, but there's no reason why Liam couldn't fight, say, James Metcalf, who's also I think he's with Frank Warren for his MTK link. For the British title, because James was going to fight Ted Cheeseman. Yeah. Ted was a really good fighter. Surprisingly withdrew from that. Eddie Earn's obviously got other plans for Ted. I'm sure, because Ted Cheeseman Metcalf's a really good fighter. I'd love to have seen that. And they also got an eliminator between Asina Byfield and Joe Pigford, one of them. So look, let him come back at domestic level, and then this time next year we'll be sitting in this little studio, Dev, maybe talking and saying in 2019 is the year Liam Williams can make another world title assault. But I think 3 fights next year about mixing at domestic level. This time next year, fighting someone who's fringe world class, and then 2019 kicking on again and making another assault at the world championship.
Well, that was Liam Williams at the Christmas meal. He confessed to me earlier on that he perhaps had a few too many puddings. He certainly looked well.
Yeah. You know what? I saw some picture of all of the talented boxers you interviewed today, Dev, with Frank Warren. I don't know where you was hiding at the time in this picture, but as I say, you by this time I was sort of being taken home anyway. I saw the picture, and there was a couple of the lads there, and Liam Williams was the one that stood out. Since the Liam Smith fight, it looks like he's been enjoying his food. But you know what? He's entitled to do that, isn't he? We were speaking to Billy Joe Saunders. He's going back into camp on January the 16th. He's entitled to 4 weeks off, but almost probably go back to camp nearer 14 stone than anything. But he's entitled to.
Yeah.
And he's had a hard year, Liam Williams. 2 tough fights against Liam Smith. Let him enjoy his Christmas. And you know what? Liam Williams, he's dedicated to the sport. In the new year, he'll be back in the gym and back to 11 stone again and fighting fit by the spring. When I should think Frank Warren and Gary Lockett are planning to make a return to the ring. Unless you know more about that when he's coming back.
Well, I wish I did, but I'm sure he'll be out very, very soon, and we look forward to it. We move on now to another man who also had a few desserts and plenty of food. I mean, he was cleaning up at this Christmas meal. It is, of course, the Beast, Anthony Yarde. Tell me, Anthony, what is your 2020 vision?
2020 vision. It speaks for itself. When I go to get my eyes tested, they tell me I've got 2020 vision. So my 2020 vision is I'm on top of the world. I'm beyond the stars. And that's how I got to see things. I'm at the pinnacle of boxing by 2020. And that's a solid 2 years from now. So again, if I keep my head down, I've done this so far, and I've done this in 2 years. So another 2 years from now, I'll be like to believe I'll be world champion. Hopefully in some big fights, unification bouts. If I'm not there by then, I believe everything's timing anyway. At the right time, the right fights happen. People always talking about Andre Ward when I was coming up before. I said I don't want to focus on anyone else but myself, and then Andre Ward retired. So again, sometimes it's about the new generation coming up. And right now, I think there's a current world champion that's had about 13 fights.
Bivol?
Bivol, yeah, he's had 13 professional fights. I know he had a lot of amateur fights, a lot of amateur pedigree, but again, there's up and coming fighters. So I'm one of them people that focus on myself. Times change. Two people can fight each other, and then after that, they're both not the same fighter they used to be. Recently, what no one saw coming was James DeGale. He lost the fight. He was 100 to 1 to win. No one knows what's going to happen in boxing. So I always tell people when they're saying what's going to happen, I say tune into BT Sports and BoxNation and see for yourself. It's best to see it live. So 2020, in the ideal world, as I said, I'll be past the stars.
Anthony, do you like Christmas?
It is. I believe it's it's not. I think it's a man-made holiday, but at the same time, it just depends how you see it. I like to see everything in a positive light. Christmas is a time where people are. How it started ain't my business. I'm not in them days, but right now, as of present, people on that day are loving. Families get back together. People give gifts to each other. It's meant to be a happy period. Everyone's happy. You walk down the street, people say Merry Christmas. In England, that's very rare. You walk past people, usually they give you a little bit of evil eyes. But on Christmas, you walk past someone that don't know you, they'll say, "Oh, Merry Christmas," regardless of race, colour, shape, size. So again, I'm a person of positivity, and on Christmas Day, that's one of the very few times my family get together. So again, it's positive for me. So I'm just looking forward to relaxing, eating a lot of food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do like your food, don't you?
Getting that meat in, getting all that meat, getting the dessert, and I'm having a good time.
Christmas films? Have you got a favourite?
It has to be Home Alone, man.
Yeah, Home Alone.
It's got to be Home Alone's creme de la creme. I've seen that film probably And I'm not even being unrealistic. I've seen that film over 50 times in my life. I'm not even joking. Throughout the year, Christmas Day, probably twice.
The first one or the second or?
But I've probably seen number 1 and 2 the most. Yeah. Number 3 I've probably seen about 5 times.
They changed the kid, didn't they?
Yeah, once they changed it, McCulkin, whatever his name is, yeah, he was the guy.
Yeah. What about your favourite Christmas song?
Christmas song? I don't think I got one. I know I like Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey's got a good.
It sounded like you were going to bust into something, Mariah Carey.
If I start singing, this thing will go viral. This thing will go viral.
Got Lyon Woodstock here, who's convinced that Anthony was about to start singing, just like I was. So Mariah Carey, give us a few lines then. Go on.
No, you ain't gonna catch me singing unless you bug my bathroom and you hear me in the bathroom by myself. You ain't gonna catch me singing. I don't know, I ain't really got a favourite Christmas song, but I like Mariah Carey's got a song that she does. I think it's
Christmas.
Yeah, All I Want for Christmas. And this Christmas as well, I like when them soulful artists sing This Christmas and they add the little adlibs all there. All that shit, yeah. I like all that.
Okay. All right. Any final message for the BoxNation podcast listeners?
BoxNation podcast listeners, stay tuned. You never know what's gonna happen on the channel. You never know what beef you might hear in the background. You never know what sleazy sex stories might come up. You never know what new information you might hear. You gotta stay tuned. You gotta be the first to hear it. Don't hear it from someone else. You gotta stay tuned. Listen to the podcast. Very entertaining.
Thanks, Anthony.
Come on.
Well, that was the beast, Anthony Yarde. He is back on February the 10th at the Copper Box Arena alongside Daniel Dubois, Bradley Skeete, Zelani Tete, who you heard from Bradley Skeete earlier. Tickets available at frankwarren.com. It's going to be another great night at the Copper Box. Now, Steve, it's that time of the show again where you get something off your chest. It might even be positive. But I don't think it is this week by looking at you and looking at your quite angry expression. It's time for What You Talking About, Lillis.
Yeah, Dev, I'm a little bit perturbed and upset this week by comments made by the former referee Richie Davis, who's someone I know very well, go back a long, long way with. And I've never had a crossword with Richie. But what I will say, he's done an interview with Boxing Monthly. He's done an interview with Boxing News this week with, I think it was Ian Probert, a very good writer, an old colleague of mine when we was at the Daily Sport back in the late 80s, Daily and Sunday Sport. And Richie said, journeymen are very brave, but unfortunately some of them are very naive. Having 100 fights and winning 5 or 6, where's your dignity? Getting up there to be a loser just because you're getting a few quid. I don't understand it. I find that really hard on journeymen because Richie's refereed thousands of fights, and I dare say in the ring after a journeyman's given his all, actually clap them. I'm just really surprised he's come out with that, given his years in the sport, and he's refereed at amateur level, the highest professional level. He should see what these guys put into boxing and what they're doing. They're fighting to give their wives and children a better living. I mean, Johnny Greaves, the journeyman, seems to think it was that the comments were aimed at him. I've no idea. I'm not here to be, judge and jury on who they're made at. But he's referring to a section of journeymen. I just find that unfortunate that Richie said that, and I'm quite surprised by him. Disappointed by Richie, and it's not something I wouldn't say to Richie when I see him. I haven't spoke to him for a while, but when I see him, I would. There's nothing wrong with the rest of the interview. He's talking about the great fights he's refereed, but that particular comment, I'm really surprised at him, and I'm a bit disappointed that Richie's come out with that because he refereed these journeymen. So does it mean when he was refereeing, some of these times he was thinking to these fighters, you're wasting your time in the ring? So you can see that's the attitude of referees. Why some journeymen say, I know I'm not going to get a decision when they run someone close.
Well, they've certainly got their role in the sport.
A major role to play. And, one of the problems we've got in British boxing at the moment is there's not enough journeymen. That's why we're seeing so many Europeans coming over on even small hall cars because, the journeymen who fight every week, there isn't 20 or 30 of them around. There's more a handful or so. And the board are also being, taking more licenses off fighters, and some of the guys that get licenses aren't really good enough to be journeymen. They're getting stopped too often. So, there's a real gap in the market at the moment for good solid journeymen. There's very few. Christian Late, who's had couple of 100 fights. I know someone who's spoken to him. He's in his last year of boxing now. You know, it really is becoming, I'll call it a dying art in this country.
Well, you can't take it away from someone. Essentially, they are still getting punched in the face for a living, regardless of their role in the sport.
Hey,
so I do hear you.
They're stepping in at a minute fight. You know, there's some of them are working at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The phone goes. They're coming in and they're helping develop young unbeaten fighters. That is their role. And you know, I'm worried where the next batch of 150 fight journeymen who might only win a handful of fights, but will only be stopped a handful of times, are coming from.
Well, what a fiery return for What You Talking About, Lillis. That it was almost actually, it turned into a bit of an advert for journeyman. If you notice that there's a gap in the market. So, do you want people to DM you, Steve? Can you do anything about this?
Wait, look, I can't do anything about it, but if there's guys who are thinking going down that route, if you're good enough and you can look after yourself, some of these journeymen could have been good boxers. Christian Late, for example,
sure. He
could have been a really good fighter. There was a flyweight in the Midlands, Anthony Hanna, who went down that route. He was in the 90s. He was a really good fighter. Some fighters choose to go that route. There was one Chris Sanegar's got, Ashley Lane. He decided to go that route, and suddenly when he went that route, he started winning and just won a Commonwealth title a few weeks ago. So it can also lead to glory. But hey, yeah, if I was a fighter and I was a win one, lose one, and I had good defensive basics and knew how to survive and get round the ring, I wouldn't advocate it, but there's nothing wrong with going down that route. There's a living to be made.
Absolutely, Steve. Now, hands up in this studio if you're able to go a week without hearing the voice of Frank Warren. Yep, there are no hands up in the studio, and I'd imagine that there are no hands up at home. With that in mind, here's Frank Warren on Christmas. Do you like Christmas, Frank?
Of course I like Christmas. I've got a big family. I've got grandkids and grandchildren. I love it. It's a little bit of time out for me. It's a time out for everybody. And, you know, who wouldn't like Christmas? You know, it's a great holiday. It's a great time. It's a family time. It's a time to spend with your family. Switch off from all the bullshit, all the rubbish that goes on in your life, and focus on family. And family is certainly very important to me, and I'm sure it's important to a lot of people. So Christmas is a nice time that we can all get together.
Favourite Christmas film?
Well, you say It's a Wonderful Life, Home Alone. There's a million of them. I think for me, being an old bastard that I am, It's a Wonderful Life.
Martin Bowers, Daniel DeBar's trainer, he told me exactly that as well when I asked him the other day. So clearly a popular one. I haven't seen it.
Well, he's an old bastard like me.
And favourite Christmas song?
Well, that's a tough one. I mean, I've got a million of them I could go through. I mean, I could talk about White Christmas, obviously Bing Crosby from Holiday Inn, Last Christmas, Wham, and I like the Waitresses, you know. Was it Christmas Rapping? You probably don't know.
I don't know this one.
Go and listen to the Waitresses. It's a really good track. It's a bit more modern. There's lots of them. I like all them. But for me, Christmas in the morning when we get up, it's proper traditional carols, and I love that's Christmas, isn't it? It's like all about that, and it's all about the kids. When I had kids, they're all old now, all my kids, but the grandkids. It's all about them. And it's all about looking at their faces and the joy that they bring. And it's not just about we all buy presents and it becomes very sort of commercial. It's about the feeling of Christmas, about love and about giving love.
Nice words, Frank. Any final words for the BoxNation podcast listeners?
Lots of love for Christmas. Enjoy it, and we hope looking for a big 2018.
Well, that was Frank Warren on Christmas, #FestiveFrank, and here's some dates that you might want to just punch into your calendar over the Christmas period. And let me just warn you now, guys, this is the last BoxNation podcast of the year. Fear not, though, we'll be back next year, won't we, Steve?
We will be back in January.
Exactly, we'll be back.
Giving it to them, speaking to the big names. Big names talk to us, mate.
Absolutely, as you heard on this show, and we'll be fit and firing. Well, here's some dates that you might just want to punch into your calendar over the Christmas period. Friday, 7 o'clock, Bunce's Boxing Hour, the year in review. Steve, are you involved?
I'm there myself, and Barry Jones will be there. Christmas jumpers, paper hats on, firing balloons around the studio, talking about the great year it's been for boxing and what we're going to look forward to in 2018. Show not to be missed, Dev, and I'm glad you've recommended it as your festive viewing.
Highly recommended indeed. And Steve, you mentioned there about Christmas jumper. I'm wearing mine today, and I can't help but think I'm a tad disappointed that you're not wearing one.
Do you know what? I haven't got a Christmas jumper.
Whoa! And you've just advertised that on Bunce's Boxing Hour, Friday 7 o'clock, you'll be wearing one.
I will go and buy one on the way out now and wear a nice black and white one, I think.
Get one with lights. I've got one with lights. It's always be good for the studio, as long as no one's got epilepsy. Boxing Matters Christmas special on Christmas Day. Alex Steedman is joined by Colin Hart, who he refers to as the Grinch, and John Evans, who he refers to as Santa's little elf, and they review 2017 and they get their crystal balls out for 2018. That's going to be a great show, Steve. Excited?
John Evans is good value.
He is.
A lot of people might not know John, but he really knows his boxing.
Mm.
Maybe I'm a bit biased because he lives in the next town to me,
sure.
Up in Manchester. He's in Shore, I'm in Ashton, which is just next door to each other. But you know what? He really knows his boxing. And Colin Hart, you've got a man there who's forgotten more than most people know about boxing. He's been in it since God was a little boy. He was in the jungle with Ali. He's been everywhere, all over the world, watching Ali fights, and he's a college of knowledge, shall we say?
Oh wow! What a great thing to say, college of knowledge. Really, did you come up with that?
Yeah, just said it.
Very good, Steve. And there'll be plenty more coming up, little scheduled treats for you over the Christmas period. Go to BoxNation.com, have a look through the schedule page to keep up to date. As I mentioned, this is the last pod of the year, but we'll be back next year, probably a tad plumper than what we are right now. Me certainly, Steve. You're just gonna eat? Or...
No, yeah, I'm going to eat until New Year's Eve, and then New Year's Day I start training for the London Marathon. The marathon season training starts on New Year's Day.
But you're going to be up really late gallivanting on New Year's Eve, right?
Not a chance, mate. My body's a temple. I'm going to have I don't drink. I don't eat rubbish food. So New Year's Eve, I'm going to be a devil.
Yes.
But keep this quiet.
Go on.
I'm going to have a full fat Coke at midnight.
And
I'm not fibbing. I'm not fibbing. That's what I'm going to do. New Year's Eve, I'll drink water and have a full fat Coke at midnight. You know what? The other night, I went for a meal with my wife on Saturday night, and for the first time in 6 months, I had a glass of lemonade. I had a headache on Sunday morning, and I put it down to the carbonated water in the lemonade.
Wow. Well, Steve, I mean, your full fat Coke on New Year's Eve. You know, you are a bad man. I intend to have a few full fat Cokes myself. Let me ask you now. 2018 next year. What is your one wish for 2018 before we close out this podcast?
Dev, Mr. Sahni, that's a hard question to throw at me on spec.
It is.
I change every month on what I wish more than anything in boxing because the landscape and the sport changes every day, it seems, at the moment, although January sometimes are quite a month. Right now, we're red hot on Billy Joe Saunders after that performance blew the boxing world apart on Saturday night in Montreal. I would like to see Billy Joe Saunders against the winner of Canelo and Golovkin. He's now in that fight with a chance against either of them. And I think, you know what? Canelo might be the tougher of the two because he cuts the ring better than what someone like Lemieux does, for example.
Definitely, yeah. Well, that's a good wish. I share that wish. I'm quite keen to see how Daniel Dubois gets on. I mean, he's been 6-0. He's ended the year. What's next?
You know what?
How can you match him?
What worries me with Daniel, and it isn't a worry for Daniel, it's how good he's doing. I'm worrying what fighters is Frank Warren and his team going to find who will give him rounds? Mm-hmm. He hits so hard. I mean, he is a concussive one-punch finisher. And what he does before he goes on to the fringes of the world, he needs boxers who are going to give him rounds.
Is that you offering to give him rounds, Steve?
Hey, I couldn't give him half a second. Where they're going to find him from, I just don't know. Right now, that's what he needs, rounds. I know Anthony Yarde we're really hot on, and I'd like to see Anthony. I know he's got that high WBO rating and his international title now. I'd love to see Anthony just mix it a little bit at domestic level in 2018.
I think he
wants
Buglioni.
Frank Buglioni. They're the fights I'd like for him in 2018. And this time next year, let's start talking about him moving on to the world. Zelfa, Barrett and Lyon, Woodstock continue to keep their unbeaten records, and they'll be on a collision course to meet before we know it. Liam Smith, hopefully he'll win his world title back.
Yeah.
Terry Flanagan, hopefully he'll become a two-weight world champion. It's going to be a stacked year for our fighters on BoxNation.
Well, if you want to subscribe to BoxNation, it is just £12 a month. Go to BoxNation.com and follow the very simple instructions. If you think that this podcast is the best in the world and you want to keep the lights on in my house, please leave us a review on iTunes and it will just keep us in your ears. Isn't that right, Steve?
It will do.
Have you left a review yet? I've tried to do it, but it wouldn't let me do it because I upload the podcast.
See?
Yeah.
I want to give it 5 stars as soon as I get out of here.
Give it 5 stars on my behalf as well. Please remember to tweet us any comments at BoxNation TV, at Steve Lillis, and at Sahni Dev. Steve, any closing words?
Just Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everybody. Thanks for everyone who's tuned in to BoxNation, and especially everyone who tunes in at 2 o'clock in the morning, Saturday, Sunday morning, to watch these long marathon overnights from America and around the world. They are the creme de la creme of fight fans. Thanks very much. Have a good Christmas. Happy New Year to everybody, and to you, Dev Sahni.
Oh.
And apologies to Mrs. Sahni before I get a legal letter. Your husband was not drunk at the Christmas party.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you very much for clearing that up. I was not looking forward to seeing Mrs. Sahni's face when I do return home with these sordid stories. Let's catch up next year, guys. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.